What you was thinking when Tank did that when he took the knee? What you was thinking when he took the knee?
I can't. Yeah.
Can't think on that?
Yeah.
He did some bullshit though?
I can't speak on it.
No personal opinion, nothing?
Yeah.
No, you gotta calm down and listen to me.
Hey, come on now. Just trying to get it. Come on now. Just trying to.
After recordings of conversation between Dan Davis and his corner were leaked, it became clear to everyone in the boxing world that trouble was on the way. As if that wasn't enough, audio recordings of Gervonta Davis and the referees also surfaced, and this was the tipping point. It became the key factor in Lamont Roach's appeal.
Steve said, fight out of the clinch. Yeah. That's what we were going to do. He came in the back and was like, I'm going to let you fight out, especially if one arm is loose or whatever the case may be. As long.
Unfortunately, the new State Athletic Commission chose to downplay his efforts and ignored the significance of the recordings. Their response only sparked more controversy and intensified the debate within the boxing community.
Hey, simple. So I was like, all right, the ref started counting. While I'm looking at him, I'm like, the ref started counting. But I see him get up and go to the corner.
The New York State Athletic Commission is still reviewing referee Steve Willis's mishandling of Lamont Roach Jr.'s knockdown of Gervonta Davis on Saturday night. On Wednesday, a Pro Box TV panel discussed the issue in depth. Veteran boxing writer Dan Raphael, who now runs his Fight Freaky Night Substack, pointed out that if the refereeing had been fair, Lamont Roach would have won the fight. He emphasized that Willis's mistakes cost Roach a potential championship and the chance to hand the first loss to one of America's top fighters. A lot went wrong, and it all worked against Lamont Roach. Teddy Atlas, speaking on his podcast, shared his honest thoughts on the refereeing when asked about the controversial incident in round 9.
I'm sorry. I'm terrible. I am, but I'm ashamed of myself. I am so cynical, but this sport has made me cynical. I'm sorry. I don't see anyone's going to make...
He suggested that the referee wasn't good enough and even hinted that he could have been bribed, since he would never have made the same calls for Roach. We need better refs, he said, more educated, more trained refs, whatever you want to call them. He wasn't sure if honesty was the issue, but he definitely felt that referees need to be confident in their decisions and brave enough to make the right call. He believed a referee wouldn't have let Roach get away with the things Tank Davis did, simply because Tank is a star.
It's going to reprimand this referee. What are they going to do? I mean, it happens too often. It's happened too often. I don't know. We need a national commission. That's the only thing I can think of.
He went on to say, I think he set a record for the most fans ever at Barclays Center. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they hit a new attendance record, maybe even a gate record. They've hosted concerts, fights, and basketball games there, and they've all done big numbers. He's a star. He draws a crowd, has a huge fan base, and delivers strong pay-per-view numbers. I'm not sure about the numbers for this one, but he's one of those fighters who consistently brings in solid pay-per-view figures. All of that comes with him.
One right now. But the last thing I want to say to put a bow on this one, Bud, we talked about the controversial part, but I want to...
He pointed out, when a referee lets him take a knee, which isn't a rule in boxing, and doesn't make a 10-8 round when it should have been, that's a problem. He got hit with a jab just before that. I'm not trying to go after Tank Davis. People already say I defend him too much or hype him up. And he's great, no doubt. He's a tremendous, complete fighter, a puncher inside and outside, patient, defensively responsible with fast hands. He puts punches together, goes to the body, can counterpunch and set traps. He does all of that, but he was wrong here. He got away with it because the sport allowed it. It's not the fighters. It's the people running the sport who are getting it wrong. We see it, and we shouldn't keep seeing it. It's got to stop.
The great part. That was high-level boxing. That was two guys at the highest level showing their skills.
Teddy Atlas also added, a referee can't just let something that's not in the rule book slide. Tank gets hit with a jab, and a second later, he takes a knee. Guess what? I'm sorry, that's a knockdown. If your knee touches a canvas like that, it's a knockdown. This isn't football. There are no fair catches here. As you pointed out last night, if it were football, it would be a touchback. taking a knee in certain situations. There are rules for a reason. Even Terrence Crawford, one of the top 3 pound-for-pound fighters, came out and said, "I didn't know that was a rule. I guess I was sleeping when they passed that one." He didn't say this, but maybe he was out doing road work or something. He must have been busy when that rule, which isn't even a rule, came up. Like I said earlier, this isn't the Indianapolis 500. You can't just go into pit row because your oil needs changing, your tires need swapping, or you've got grease in your eyes. There's no pit row in boxing. Tank went down on a knee and Roach, give him credit, should have gone after him because the rule is defend yourself at all times. He would have been completely within his rights to attack.
You miss and you counter, and then all of a sudden you're in front of him. Boom! You're the invisible man. You're on the. That's sweet science too. Yes, and it's easier to see. It grabs your attention. Oh wow! Look at that guy. He's on the outside.
He pointed out, "I've seen fighters hit opponents who are turning or walking away, and the referee doesn't stop it unless the bell rings or he steps in. You have the right to hit that guy." Roach had the right to keep going. He was a gentleman, a sportsman. I give him credit for that. But when Tank turned, Roach could have hit him a left hook or a straight left. Whatever it was his right to pursue and throw. Maybe he could have caught him and knocked him down while Tank was turning. It wouldn't have been the nicest thing to see, but he wouldn't have been wrong. The ones who were wrong were Tank and the referee, who allowed him to take a knee, go to his corner to get whatever was obstructing his vision wiped away, and then get back to work. If the referee had scored that as a 10-8 round, which it technically should have been, even though Tank wasn't hurt, Roach doesn't get a draw. He wins the title. A lot of people with a plus 900 ticket are probably feeling pretty good right now.
The middle of the furnace with all the flames and everything going, and you don't get burnt up. You don't get torched. You don't get scorched. That is...
He wrapped up his thoughts by saying, he bullied the bully, really. It's like in the schoolyard. You see the bully get his way all the time, then one day, someone stands up to him. Suddenly, the bully isn't acting the same, not as aggressive. My cousin used to say something that fits here. When you rely a little too much on intimidation, but the guy you're trying to intimidate doesn't get scared and ends up becoming the intimidator, it flips everything. You're not going to hear that from many people.
Oh, something funny. When we was talking in like the 12th round, I think the 12th or 11th, we was talking shit, right? But he like, you ain't gonna win.
Roach, a former amateur rival of Davis, deserved to be the main story after handing Tank, the minus 1,600 betting favorite, the first mark on a professional record with a controversial majority draw at Barclays Center. The New York State Athletic Commission, however, wasn't transparent in the aftermath. They claimed on Monday that a technical issue had prevented them from reviewing the instant replay footage within the required time. By not calling Davis's voluntary knee in round 9 a knockdown, they missed a key moment in the fight. This mistake cost Roach a potential 10-8 round that would have tipped the decision in his favor and millions of dollars in earnings. Had Roach been declared the winner, he would have entered their inevitable rematch as the defending champion.
Why not? What you talking about? He like, they ain't gonna give it to you. I was like, oh, is that right? So, you know, that's how boxing works.
Speaking to regulators across the country on Wednesday, they said New York Commission head Matthew Dalio is in a difficult position trying to address the human error that occurred when referee Steve Willis began and then stopped his 8 count on Davis after he took several punches from Roach. This prompted Davis to take a knee and walk to his corner, where co-trainer Calvin Ford met him and wiped his face with a towel. Davis later explained that he felt the sting of a hair chemical in his eye and was simply seeking relief. Some believe Dalio should deduct a point from Davis for his actions and award Roach the World Boxing Association lightweight title after their Saturday night majority draw. However, others argue that it would be unfair to Davis, a knockout puncher who may have shifted into a more aggressive offensive mindset in the final 3 rounds if he had known he was being penalized with a knockdown.
In round number 9, Gervonta Davis takes a knee, landed a right hand, then 2 jabs afterward. What were you thinking when this happened? Were you surprised as everybody else? What was on your mind?
Man, I was surprised, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I thought it was a 10-8.
The panel, which included retired California referee Jack Rice, trainer Stephen Bradman, Edwards, Dan Raphael, and Pro Box TV regulars Chris Algieri and Paulie Malignaggi, all agreed that Roach's bet knee clearly met the definition of a knockdown. Pro Box TV founder Gary Jonas, who advises Roach, submitted an official appeal to the New York Commission, asking them to declare Roach the winner. He argued that referee Willis had multiple opportunities to penalize Davis, including the knockdown, Davis turning his back on Roach, walking to his corner, and Ford walking up the steps to treat him mid-round. Edwards made an important point, saying, "People make mistakes, but this always seems to happen in favor of the A side." He acknowledged that Steve Willis has had an excellent career, but this moment was a real shock.
Counting. While I'm looking at him, I'm like, the rest started counting. But I see him get up and go to the corner. So now I'm just like, all right, now I'm confused. I don't know what's going on.
Did you think he was stopping the fight? He had a
Referee Rice explained that officials have some leeway as the sole arbiters of a bout, allowing them to use discretion in how the fight progresses. "You can't call your own timeout," Malignaggi responded. Raphael also reported that there was an opportunity to review the replay of the knockdown, but it never happened. This led Algieri and Malignaggi to agree that the only fair response would be to stage an immediate rematch, right back at Barclays Center in Brooklyn.
He was stopping the fight, but then again, like when I look at him in the corner, I'm like, what is going on? Like, I don't know. I don't know now. I just don't know what's going on, besides the fact that
the New York State Athletic Commission told multiple outlets that it's still reviewing the matter, but the most surprising and still unexplained storyline is this. What was going on with Davis? While it was certainly a shock to see the 30-year-old from Baltimore struggle against such an overwhelming underdog after dominating the sport for so long, that wasn't the most surprising part. What stood out was that Roach, after bulking up to lightweight, looked like the bigger fighter. He used the confidence and experience he gained from growing up in the same boxing circles as Davis to deliver the most impressive performance of his career.
It's sad to say, that's how boxing works. I'm not like totally upset. I figured with a superstar.
The biggest question surrounding Davis centered on his mindset and the strange behavior he displayed before, during, and after the fight. This has led to speculation about whether it was just an off night for one of the sport's pound-for-pound best, or if Davis has lost a competitive fire and killer instinct that made him such a huge box office star. Being late for media events isn't new, especially for Davis, who was almost 2 hours late to the 2023 kickoff press conference against Ryan Garcia in December. However, Davis took tardiness to a new level when he showed up nearly 4.5 hours late for his first event with Roach in New York, and then followed it up by being 90 minutes late to last Friday's weigh-in. Throughout fight week, Davis was his usual playful and loose self, but his behavior during the fight became concerning when he twice took his eyes off Roach to argue with referee Willis during the first half of the bout, only to get hit with clean punches in return.
You won't get too much on paper, but shit, I damn sure thought I had it. Especially when they announced the score for him, I was like, oh, they gonna give me a...
Prime video cameras also caught Davis yelling over the advice of his trainer, Calvin Ford, during the breaks between rounds. At times, he screamed, "Listen to me." Then came the uncalled knockdown in round 9. After Roach landed a series of jabs, Davis began aggressively blinking his left eye, then turned his back to the action and took a knee. He quickly got up and ran to his corner, where Ford used a towel to wipe his eyes, an action that could have been grounds for disqualification under the rules. Referee Willis briefly started a mandatory 8 count but stopped at 3, then warned Davis before allowing the fight to continue.
Didn't win. I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, oh, shit, here it comes. But as soon as I heard that 114, I was just like, damn, all right, it's over with.
Not only was Davis's explanation of what happened during the post-fight interview odd, but his demeanor was also noticeably less serious, especially considering how close he came to losing his title and unbeaten record. The crowd booed him, and his response seemed to reflect either embarrassment or a lack of concern. "I just got my hair done 2 days ago, and she put grease in my expletive. So the expletive was coming into my face when I was sweating and it burned my eyes." Davis said, "Damn, why are y'all booing? I'm just telling the truth. Come on, man, look at my hair. I just got my expletive done. But it's all cool, man. You know how they are. They love you, then they hate you, and then they'll love you again."
So, yeah, man, it's was just crazy. I ain't gonna lie. Like, it's okay. We gonna run it back. It's okay.
Davis, who has a mandatory rematch clause in his contract and expressed interest in one on social media Monday, appeared a bit more humble when explaining performance at the post-fight press conference. However, his comments only highlighted a lack of awareness regarding the rules. Nobody likes to draw from a guy who gets knockouts and things like that, but it's cool. Davis said, "I feel like if we fight again, I could do more, and I should have done more. I was lost and lost track of the rounds. That's why we need ring girls. I didn't know what round it was. Fact."
Can you describe what the feeling was like in the ring? And was it to get the towel out, to get the burn out of your eyes, or what was going on? And
I didn't want to get caught. I didn't want to get caught.
I didn't want to get caught. I didn't want to get hit while my eyes were burning. You can get knocked out like that. So I'd rather take the knee, Davis explained. But I didn't really know that you could get disqualified for receiving mid-round corner assistance. When Willis started counting, I was like, what the hell? But it's cool. During a chat with Colin McGann on IFL TV, the Golden Boy pointed to referee Steve Willis, who in the 9th round missed an infringement by Gervonta Davis. After taking a blow from Roach around the eye, Davis turned around and went down on one knee. This action should have been penalized as a knockdown, which would have cost him a point. With that point deduction, the judges should have awarded the round to Roach.
The decision, or I think a draw was meant to be. So I like the draw.
Do you like the draw? Do you like the knee though? Was that a good call on the ref?
No, if you take a knee, man, we're not.
You know who the commission or the referee is, said the 52-year-old former boxer, referring to Steve Willis. In fact, I was surprised that the referee allowed that to happen because he's a professional referee with experience. Willis has worked several fights for Golden Boy Promotions, so De La Hoya recognized the surprise at his performance. However, what truly shocked him was Lamont Roach's performance. Roach really put Gervonta Davis in trouble, De La Hoya said, describing Davis as a fantastic fighter. I just feel that Roach did extremely well against Davis. I think Lamont Roach was on his game, and it was a great fight.
If you take a knee in the 90s or in 2000, you're taking a point off. That's the bottom line. You're taking a point off. I don't know what happened with the referee. Maybe he was a little starstruck. Maybe he was a little...
Boxing promoter Eddie Hearn shared his thoughts on the New York State Athletic Commission's review of the controversial fight between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach. Hearn doesn't believe the NYSAC will overturn the outcome of the fight, which ended in a majority draw, but he does expect a rematch to take place. Davis and Roach fought to a draw at Barclays Center last Saturday, but a 9th round incident where Davis took a voluntary knee without the knockdown being called has led to an official review by the commission.
One thing that's kind of baffling is that it wasn't a knockdown. I mean, look, he wasn't hurt. There's no doubt about that. But if you take a knee in the fight and you touch down, whilst punches are being thrown, it has to be a knockdown. I've heard some people...
As reported by Dan Raphael of Fight Freaks Unite, Roach's lawyer has appealed for the result to be changed to a win for his fighter, either by decision, knockout, or disqualification. Hearn acknowledged the controversy, but doesn't expect the New York State Athletic Commission to alter the result. In an interview with Fight Hype on Tuesday, Hearn said, "No, I don't think they do. Can the state call for an immediate rematch? I don't think they can. The commission, it's really up to the governing body. The World Boxing Association oversees the lightweight title, and while the commission can review the result, it cannot mandate a rematch." Despite this, Hearn expects the rematch to happen regardless.
Oh, that he should be disqualified. He went back to the corner. I don't buy that, to be honest with you. I mean, I think that's a warning, but it's a bit of a bizarre situation for me. Like, there was a lot of people in boxing that were saying that this is a really tough fight. Like,
everything I'm hearing is the rematch is going to happen anyway. Hearn revealed, "I think it's pretty much done." Hearn also weighed in on the 9th round controversy, arguing that Davis's decision to take a knee should have been ruled a knockdown. If you take a knee in a fight and touch the canvas while punches are being thrown, it has to be a knockdown. Hearn said, "I heard people saying he should be disqualified because he went back to his corner, but I don't buy that. I think that's a warning, but it's still a bit of a bizarre situation."
She's a serious fighter. I said it it might not be the biggest profile fight, but it's actually quite a tough fight. And Shakur said to me, like, even the day before, I'm telling you, he's going to have big trouble tomorrow night. And I just feel like hopefully this could be the little something that gives Gervonta a little